What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? I hope y'all have been doing well. So for those of you guys that are watching me on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe to the No But Disrespect podcast on YouTube. But for those of you watching, you see that I have some new hardware. So yeah, that's right. Your boy got hitched. I am a husband now, no longer a fiance. For those that started this journey with me, at the time I was engaged, and like I said, now I am a husband, and I am extremely happy about that. So if you've been wondering where I had been, I was off, jumping a broom and saying some vows and things like that. But I won't keep you guys too long today. I'm going to make this one a little bit short and sweet. I won't say really sweet. You know me better than that. It might not be as sweet. I'm going to talk a little bit about wedding stuff. Maybe the next couple episodes or a few episodes after the next couple, I'm actually going to have the love of my life, my wife, join me for an episode. And hopefully by that time, we'll have our pictures back from our photographer so we can show a little bit of our beautiful and amazing day and just talk a little bit about how that went as far as not just the wedding itself, but even some of the planning that went into it and maybe some of the things that we keep, some of the things we do differently. But for this episode, I want to focus on a topic that's been, at least on my Twitter feed, has been coming up about feeding your vendors, more specifically, feeding your photographers. So I was reading a story about a photographer, a wedding photographer, that where the wedding party, or whether it be the bride or the groom, refused to feed them, give them a plate. And when they were refused a plate, they deleted all the pictures and left. And so you had some people, saying like, "Oh man, it's horrible." And a lot of people, at least on my feed, they were saying, "Well, that was well deserved, good for the photographer. Everybody knows that you're supposed to feed the photographer, and because you didn't feed the photographer, you got what you deserved." Now, when we're thinking about that particular situation, it's a little bit different because for me, I think different, and I'll get into that. But I do want to kind of focus on this exact situation that kind of stirred up the conversation, at least on social media. So from what I read, it was a personal friend who was invited to the wedding. They RSVP'd. Somewhere down the line, I guess they were asked to take photos, or they talked about them being able to take photos, and then they weren't a guest anymore. They were a vendor, and I believe they only charged $250 for the photos, which, look, if you are an artist or a talent, you're not doing your friends a service by charging less than you're worth. So for the bride and groom, for a friend of theirs to, in their mind, do the right thing, or the nice thing and the loving thing, let's call it a wedding gift of sorts, and charge you far less, maybe 10 times less what you would probably pay to get your photographs taken. And I mean, pictures in a hotel room, both bridesmaids, groomsmen, bride, groom, pictures of the family, pictures, at the ceremony, pictures at the reception, all that. So somebody to charge you $250, that's, to call it a steal is an understatement. That's putting it lightly. So obviously, friend trying to be a good friend, charge you much less than market price, much, much less. And I think they say even watched the married couple's child during the time, and pretty much babysit it during the whole time. And, you've been working for hours and you want a plate, you want to eat. And they were denied. And so when that photographer was denied, it was like, fuck this shit. If you can't feed me, the least you can do if you can't feed me, and I'm giving you a bargain, like, I'm out. Getting rid of these pictures. To that photographer, I say, good. You should have done that, because you did a great thing as far as trying to be a great friend. You went above and beyond. The least you can do is give them a plate. I mean, no disrespect, but if I can't get snacks, you can't get these snaps. It's how it is. It's just how it is. So that situation, isolated, totally understand. The bride and groom, they got what was coming to them. This person's a good friend, charge you much less than market rate. The least you can do is fix them a plate. Now, generally, so for all these folks saying, oh, we're supposed to feed the photographer and the vendors. Look, I know that our people do that. We do. We feed the photographers, we feed the cake people, we even save food for the service folks that are serving the food for us. That's just kind of how we were raised. And that's a good gesture. But I want you to know that that's not a necessity. That's not something that has to happen. And I'm speaking from the perspective of someone that just got married and paid for photography, which they did a great job, by the way. Exposures photography, great job. But I do want to say that we still paid them to take the photos, and we paid them much more than $250. I'll tell you that much. And if they had come, and we did feed them, by the way, I do want to say that they were fed quite well. But for some reason, maybe we had a strict number of plates that we could serve, things like that, which that does happen. In weddings, you have a head count. People don't always account for the vendors in the head count. That is true. People say you should, some people don't. But sometimes you may not. And if a person wants a plate, you may not necessarily have the room, or you may feel that they didn't necessarily pay. They're paid to be here. You don't need to give them a plate. So if you're that person, oh, sure. If you operate that way, I still don't believe that it is up to the photographer to then decide to get rid of the pictures because they didn't get a plate. Not when they're being paid quite well for their services. Because me personally, if all I need to do is give you a plate, look, I will make sure you have 10 plates ready for you when you walk in the door. That's what it takes. Because we could have saved the money. We could have put that in our honeymoon fund. We've been talking about houses and all that kind of stuff. We could have used that money to go to that. But instead, we wanted our day to be captured in beautiful light by professionals. And so we sought professionals, and we paid them for their professional services. And so when you come to a wedding and you have been paid for your professional services, it is your job to be professional in service, whatever that service is. And so I want to say to the people that, we're all on social media saying, yeah, you're supposed to feed photographers, and if you don't, then this should happen all the time. I adamantly disagree, because I paid you well to perform this service. I expect you to perform that service, whether I feed you or not. Now, me personally, of course, I'm gonna feed you, because that's just how I was raised. That's how my wife was raised. How our families brought us up. And that's more of, I know grandmama used to try to feed everybody. So of course, if we got extra food, why throw it away when we can give it to y'all? I mean, we pay for it already. I mean, again, that was a service that was paid for. We have extra. We don't want to waste our money, quote unquote. So we're going to give it to people that we may not have accommodated for, in terms of our head count and things like that, if we didn't do that, which honestly, I don't think we accommodated for vendors in our head count, but we had the food available at a good bit. It was like, hey, I've been working all day. You're hungry? You want to eat? Hey. Shit, there's some stuff that I wanted that they got. So first of all, I'm a little jealous, but as you know, the groom and the bride, sometimes we got to stay behind and interact with the folks that drove miles and miles to be there on our special day. But anyways, I want to get back to the point, because again, just reading some of those comments, I was like, where did the entitlement come from? Like, are you guys even married? Like, did you pay for it? No, did you pay for it? Because I think, had you paid quality money and a photographer then said they wanted to eat, and for some reason you couldn't feed them, they decided upon them, or took it upon themselves, to delete all of your photos, from the makeup ladies, the hair for the guys. I took a picture with my dad. He was putting my bow tie on. Yeah, I was looking sharp. I took a picture with my guys, my grandparents. So really quality pictures, great moments, captured moments. Because I didn't feed you, I'm supposed to lose all of that. I disagree. Not when I paid you ahead of time to be here. I expect you to be professional, do the job I paid you to do, and we go on from there. Now, like I said, I will feed you, but I don't feel like I have to. I don't feel like that's a thing. I don't think that's a path we need to go down where we feel like we have to go above and beyond or do a little bit of extra. It's just a nice thing to do. It's common courtesy, but common necessity in life. So we have to think about that. Now, again, I want to go back to the photographer that we opened the show with, and to that person again, I understand you. You are a unique situation where, again, you went above and beyond for people you love and cared about, and they took advantage of you. And there's one thing that Trey hates, it's people being taken advantage of. So I understand everything that went into that. But guys, come on, take a step back, realize what you're saying. Because look, if the consensus is that vendors are supposed to be paid with food, I'm gonna try to get the money back. I'm telling you, I will. I mean, that money could be used for a lot of things. I mean, I make money, but look, I ain't no Tyler Perry up in here. So look, any dollar counts. If I could save $2, that's $2 that I have in my pocket that I didn't spend. So if this is going to be the way, I'm not getting married again. This is my last one. But maybe if we have kids and they get married, maybe that's something to keep in mind. And so when we're negotiating prices with the vendors, I'm like, well, look, if I give y'all 3 plates, I'll give you 3 plates. Can I take like 200 off that price? I mean, if that's part of the bargaining system, you might just go back to bartering, the barter system where, look, nobody really handled cash. They just handled items. So look, if I can give you food for a few clicks, like if your plate is fixed, can I get a few clicks? That's all I'm asking. If your plate is fixed, can I get a few clicks? And if I can, look, I'm gonna do it. I'm a businessman. So thank you, Twitter Sphere, for giving me a new perspective. I wish you guys would have gave me that perspective maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago when we were negotiating, because we had some really good ass food, by the way. Yeah, boudin balls, shrimp fettuccine, jambalaya. We had chicken. Why did I say chicken like that? But we had chicken. We had, what did we have? Shit, I don't know. We had a lot. I barely got to eat though. We ate like when we first got there, and I don't think we ate again until the next day. We were supposed to have a to-go plate that didn't get made, but you win some, you lose some. But we had enough food to last us the next couple of days. But really, just kind of wanted to touch on that. But I am interested to know everybody's thoughts on this because, like I said, down my Twitter feed, more people were in support of the photographer leaving and deleting pictures, which, like I said, I'm okay with that instance. It's kind of like a unicorn of situations. But I was just kind of confused as to the overall consensus that this is just a thing, that if, regardless if I paid you or not, if I didn't feed you, that you had every right to delete my picture. So if that is the case, I do want to hear from you guys. Do you guys think that's the status quo? Are you kind of against the grain like I am, or at least how I appear to be? Just make sure you like, you subscribe, and you comment. Definitely want to make sure we post this on the Twitter page as well. You can also listen on Spotify. But before I go, I really want to talk. Like I said, I know my wife is going to come on in a few weeks, and we're going to talk a little bit about from my perspective. But I'm really excited. I just want to talk about how it feels to be a husband now, because the day after everybody asked me, actually the day of, right after the vows and everything, everybody was asking me if I felt any different. Like, does it feel different? Well, at this point in time, a few days removed, pretty much a week removed, 6 days now, 7 days tomorrow, so a full week removed almost. I don't feel any different. And that's a good thing. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I was in love with her last week. I've been in love with her for the last 7, 8 years, been together for 6, going on 7 years. So it doesn't feel different. And probably because of our current living situation, maybe is why it hasn't set in yet, but we've also lived together before. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever change. I was actually talking to someone today. They asked me the same question, and I was like, nothing's changed, but I think things will change, but I think it'll be good change. I don't think it'll be any bad changes that come about. Obviously, I guess marriages have the bumps and bruises along the way, but love, communication, those are the things that are going to get you through. So I've heard, because obviously I've never been married before, but it's gotten us through our relationship up until this point. So I think that's something we're going to hang our hat on, and obviously keeping God first in everything we do. But and it just feels great to be a husband. It feels great to say that. It feels great to say wife. Like, I don't think you guys understand that words have like meaning and power to them. And, being, that's me, how we used to say it back in the day, like that's me to, it's my girlfriend to, that's my fiance to now that's my wife. And having kind of that same name, or those same title changes happen from a personal level, babe, boyfriend, fiance, husband. It just, that feels different, because I feel a different level of rejuvenation, because you made that next step. It's like going from entry level to being the CEO of a company. And obviously, it's not one of those things where, I had an upper hand and somebody just pulled me straight to the top. I had to go through every level, get experience in every level. And so when you go about it that way, it means a whole lot more than when you just know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy. And I'm using the work, metaphor, but like when you just know people and they just put you on the skyrocket to success, and you don't necessarily have to deal with the grind and the day-to-day things that go into starting from an entry level to a CEO. And so I was fortunate enough to have that grind. I think we both were, my wife and I. And to get to this moment is good. And once you're at the top, you never want to go down. Someone made a post talking about, we're on cloud 9 and we may come down and things like that. And I was like, look, I don't ever want to come down, because once you make it to the top, who wants to go down the ladder? I was messing with one of my friends. I was asking her, like, when she thinks she was gonna get married, because now I'm one of those people that I'm married now, so now all of my friends have to be married. I'm trying not to be that way, but a week in and I've already started doing that. So I'm gonna try to chill on that. But it's been really good, and I'm really fortunate to not just be married, to be married to my best friend. So don't tell her I said that, even though I think she already knows. But still, try to keep some of those things separate. But anyways, the husband life has been good so far. Like I said, I'm just a week in. Obviously, the married people that are listening to this, like, this young man don't know nothing about nothing. But guess what? Look, I know the first week has been great. And if the first week is great, I hope all of the weeks, the days, the months, and the years to come, and even the forevers are just as great. But at the very least, we don't have to worry about this moment forward, wondering if photographers are going to walk out on us and delete stuff because we didn't feed them. Yeah, I definitely had to go back to the main topic. But enough about my married life, because I feel like, again, I'm that newlywed who's preaching and on my soapbox. But definitely that's going to happen in a few weeks when my wife gets here, because we're going to have this conversation. And they're going to look at me and I'm like, oh, you still in the thick of it, all that kind of stuff. Guess what? I'm going to enjoy that soapbox, because like I said, I went from entry level to CEO. And when you go through that journey, you want to preach, you want to tell it, you want to scream it from the mountaintops, because you are indeed at the mountaintop. But again, make sure you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at But Disrespect. And make sure you listen to us on Spotify, the Anchor app as well. Oh, also follow me on Instagram at the No Disrespect But podcast. And as I always say, I always leave you guys with this. If I offended anyone, it's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn. It's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.